In this video, I'm going to show you how to reverse type 2 diabetes with the keto diet. Hello and welcome to Total Health with Dr. Nick, where my purpose is to inspire, empower, and motivate you to live longer, healthier, and more abundant lives. And today's video is a great one, so you want to make sure you watch it to the end. And guys, if you like what we're talking about, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you click that little bell notification so you get notified every single time I do a video. And like I said, this video is about the keto diet, but if you're looking to get more information about that and get in the best shape of your life, maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you want to get your hormones regulated, maybe you just want mental clarity, but you don't know how to start the keto diet, guys, check out my keto course. The link is down below. I think you'll find it. It is so complete. It has everything you need from beginning to end, so that way it takes away all the questions you might have. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and dive in with how to beat type 2 diabetes with the keto diet. Well, number one, let's look at some statistics about diabetes, because diabetes is something that really everybody needs to be concerned about because it's affecting so many of us right now. So in 2020 alone, 34.2 million people had diabetes. Now, not only that, that's 1/10 of the population. So that's a lot of people. More people than ever are getting diabetes, and it's on the rise. So this isn't something that's getting better. It's not something that where, you know what, we've changed our diets, everything is good now. No, this is getting worse and worse every single year. Not only that, 88 million people, or 1 out of 3, are pre-diabetic. So when you add all this up, that is a lot of people, guys, and it is now the 7th leading cause of death in the United States, and I'm sure it's the same way for all my around the world listeners and viewers. It's the same thing in your countries too. So this is something we need to really take control of. And the great news is you can do it with diet. You don't have to worry about insulin anymore. You don't need to worry about maybe taking other types of medications. So this is something you could do strictly through diet. So watch to the very end, like I said. So this is something that you really want to take control of, because the collateral damage with diabetes is extensive. So when you think about some of the #1 causes of disease in the country or death, you're thinking about heart disease, you're thinking about cancer, but what about something that can actually cause that, which once again is diabetes? So diabetes, 68% of the people with diabetes will develop heart disease, peripheral vascular disease. 16% have strokes. And if you've ever known someone with a stroke, it is debilitating. It is nothing you ever want to have. 30% diabetic retinopathy, 50% of all new cases of blindness. Now, I don't know about you, but if there was one thing I wouldn't want to have is blindness. Maybe lose my hearing, God forbid about that, but I never want to go blind. You can't really, function too well in the world if you don't have your eyesight. 70% developed neuropathy, cancer, obesity, and get this, 60% of all amputations. So you would think, well, maybe amputations happen because someone was in a war, someone had a tragic injury, a car accident, a fall or something. No, 60% of all amputations are from diabetes. So guys, none of us want to have body parts cut off. And I had an uncle many years ago, fortunately not blood related, but I had an uncle many years ago that did start to have limbs cut off because he couldn't get control of his diabetes. And the problem was he was doing what his doctors would tell him to do, just eat your healthy whole grains, and that was making him worse. Now, this is something very interesting. A research article just came out. This was published in the British Medical Journal, and this literally is just this year, January 13th of 2021. So this is hot off the presses. Guys, this right here is a game changer, because in this meta-analysis, which is an analysis of multiple studies combined into one, it literally says that you can reverse your type 2 diabetes in just 6 months by changing your diet, going to a low-carb diet for just 6 months. On the basis of moderate to low certainty evidence, patients adhering to a low-carbohydrate diet for 6 months may experience remission of diabetes without adverse consequences. So no side effects, unlike many of the different medications you take where there's copious amounts of side effects. You can change and reverse type 2 diabetes with just your diet alone, going either to a low-carb diet or a very low-carb diet. But like I said, guys, this is a game changer, but yet you're not hearing about this. And I can tell you why. Most doctors, pharmaceutical companies make more money on disease rather than they do on health. You're not going to make much money in the healthcare business if you're telling people how to be healthy. But if you sell them drugs for a lifetime, if you give them different medications, if you have to do surgeries as a result of this, whatever different procedures have to be done, a lot of money is to be made by keeping people sick. And I'm not going to teach you that. I want to teach you how to be healthy and well the way God created you from the inside out, right? So that's how I deal. Let's talk about some of the things that you're eating every single day that you may think nothing about. Well, I eat my healthy whole grains, right? That's what I've been told to eat. My doctor says, hey, don't eat fats. Fats will make you fat. Eat your healthy whole grains. Yeah, that's been taught to people since the 70s and into the 80s. And look what's happened. We're getting more and more obese because we have such high carbohydrate diets. I'd like to think that many of the problems we're having today is because of carbohydrate toxicity. It's really what it comes down to. Glycemic index measures how carbohydrate-containing foods will actually spike blood sugar or your blood glucose. So, whole wheat bread, right? How many of you are eating that thinking, well, I don't want that white bread because white bread's garbage. Who eats that? No, I want the whole wheat bread. Well, whole wheat bread spikes your blood sugar higher than anything else. 72 on the glycemic index. White bread comes in at 70, so it's actually better for you when it comes to spiking your blood sugar. Now, I want to touch on this really quickly before we move on. Why is it important not to spike your blood sugar? Because whenever you're spiking your blood sugar, your body's burning sugar for fuel. You want to burn fat for fuel. It's one of the great benefits of the ketogenic diet is burning fat for fuel rather than sugar. Every time you keep your blood sugar levels high and you're spiking your insulin, you are creating more and more tendencies to have diabetes. Now you're thinking, well, maybe I'll just have my spoon-sized shredded wheat because that's good for me too. And you know what? I won't even have the kind with the sugar on top. I won't get the frosted mini wheats. I'll just have the spoon-sized shredded wheat. Well, that's still at 67. Now watch this. This is what's absolutely amazing. The things that you would think are healthy are actually the worst. A Nutri-Grain bar. How many people are eating those things thinking, well, it's a Nutri-Grain bar. It says Nutri, so it must be nutritious. No, no, no. Nutri-Grain bars have more sugar in it. If you just look at the ingredient list, about the top 5 things in there are sugars. That's at 66. Now, just eating sugar alone. So if you took a tablespoon of sugar, you're at 65. So you're actually better off eating raw sugar itself than all these other so-called healthy things. A Coke is 63. Now, how many of us would say, you know what, I don't want my kids drinking Coke for the morning. I don't want them getting up and having a Coke right away. That's horrible. I would never do that to my kid. But you're giving them something else that's actually got a higher glycemic load on the body in spoon-sized shredded wheat or just whole wheat bread. Now, if you look at a banana, you're probably thinking, well, banana's okay too, but no, banana's loaded with starch also. So very, very high sugar, 56. A Snickers bar, this is actually where it's getting better. A Snickers bar is 43. Now, here is orange juice. I know everybody's thinking, well, but orange juice is good for you. It's so healthy. It's so clean. It's so crisp. It's so refreshing. The problem is orange juice is pure sugar. See, when you actually eat an orange, you're getting the fiber from the orange too, and that fiber helps to really, nullify some of the sugar in the juice. Not to mention, when you're drinking juice, you're drinking the juice of probably about 5 or 6 oranges. So when you get about an 8 or 10 or 12 ounce glass of orange juice, you've got probably about 5 or 6 oranges in there. You're drinking all that juice, getting all that sweetness, but yet you're not getting all the fiber, which is going to help counteract it. That's what you're not getting. So when we talk about diabetes in general, it's typically, everybody knows there's 2 types, type 1 and type 2. Well, type 1 is typically what you would consider your congenital diabetes or what you were born with, and that's the type that's typically insulin dependent. Type 2 diabetes, that's more of an insulin resistance. Now, what I mean by that is your body might actually have some insulin floating around, but for some reason your cells aren't hearing it. So insulin is outside the cell saying, hey guys, I got some blood sugar out here. Let me get that into the cell so we can burn it and get rid of it. You don't want it just floating around, but yet your body's not hearing it. You're becoming insulin resistant. That's a term many of you are starting to hear now, which means your body might have insulin, but yet you're not reading it. You're not hearing it. Your cells aren't responding to it. And that's a big, big problem. We're going to talk about what's causing that. When we look at the ketogenic diet and why the ketogenic diet is so beneficial, because it takes care of the 2 biggest problems. With type 1 diabetes, it doesn't require insulin here. So if you're eating a ketogenic diet and you're using fat for fuel rather than sugars, you don't need insulin for that. So it doesn't require diabetes. So that actually means it can help a type 1 diabetic, which we have in our office. In fact, I was even published in a research article where we helped type 1 diabetic lower her A1C levels with really just chiropractic care and changing her diet. So number 1 doesn't require insulin. And then number 2 reduces inflammation. You're going to find that inflammation is one of the big causes of insulin resistance. So if you can choose a diet that will do both of those, that's going to be your best bet when it comes to diabetes. Now, when you're looking at a low carb diet, this is what I'm recommending you doing. So once again, the keto diet. And like I said earlier when I first came on, if you're looking for more information and you don't want to have to figure this out yourself, like I said, in the link down below, check out my keto course. I think you will find it the most complete anywhere out there. It takes all the guesswork out. You don't have to think about food planning, recipe guides, shopping. You don't have to worry about calculating your macros. It all does it for you. So very, very, very complete. Like I said, check out the link below and take away all the guesswork. But if not, watch my videos. You need to stop drinking soft drinks and fruit juice. It's all sugar. And not only that, it's empty calories. And you guys are hearing about that, which that means it's like an anti-nutrient. There's no nutrition to it. It's just pure calories and pure sugar with no nutritional value. You know why that's a problem? Because your body says, hey, you know what? I got some food here, I got some calories, but the problem is there was no nutrition in it, so I'm still hungry. So you will actually have the cravings to eat more because you're eating a lot of foods with calories, but yet zero nutritional value. So your body's going to be starving even though you have adequate calories. Don't use added sugars, and what I'm talking about is high fructose corn syrup specifically. So you might have corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, and I know in the commercials they're all saying, oh, well, you know, this is made, you know, out of corn, this is healthy, this is natural. No, it's not. High fructose corn syrup is the furthest thing from natural. There's a big difference between eating a piece of corn and drinking this concentrated syrup that will absolutely destroy your blood sugar levels. You want to avoid grains. Now, I know you're thinking, well, Dr. Nick, my doctor told me I need to eat grains. I need my fiber. Well, guys, there's plenty of fiber in vegetables, and you'll get your carbs there too. But you want to avoid the grains. I'm talking about rye, barley, wheat, all these different things. Stop eating so much grains. If you're eating too many grains, they are sugars. Now, I know you're not thinking that, well, Dr. Nick, sugars are, you know, pastries and cakes and cookies and things like that. No, 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 no. These are big sugar molecules that break down to little sugar molecules. That's all it is. A baked potato is sugar. Okay, it's sugar. It's going to eventually break down into smaller molecules of sugar, but it starts off as a polysaccharide and breaks down into what we call a monosaccharide. That's the difference. Polysaccharide are your big sugars. They break down into your monosaccharides. That's your smaller, sweeter sugars. Vegetable oils. You want to avoid vegetable oils. Why? Because vegetable oils are highly, highly processed. They use different chemicals and bleaching agents. They change the smells. They use something called hexane, and they are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids, which means they are highly inflammatory. And like I said earlier, you want to do things that avoid the inflammation, because the inflammation leads to what? Insulin resistance. That's right. Absolutely. You want to reduce your carbs. Now, doesn't mean eliminate. You don't have to eliminate them completely, but you want to reduce them. The average American consumes between 200 to 300 grams of carbohydrates every single day. So just by reducing this, you're going to make a huge difference. So by reducing it into the range of under 100 grams of carbs, you're going to see dramatic results right there. Now, here's the thing though. You may need to measure to see what's going to be best for you. You might say, okay, if I take in 100, my A1C is still a little too high. Measure it, lower it down, go down to 50, see how you do with that. At 50, you might say, hey, you know, my A1C is still a little bit high. Okay, you want your A1C to be under 5.7. Keep lowering your carbs until you get that A1C into a normal range of below 5.7. That's where you want to be, all right? If you can have a little bit more carbs, then that's okay too, especially if you're not trying to lose weight. But you want to get your A1C down. That's going to be the biggest indicator of if your carbs are not low enough. Now, what you want to increase is two things. You want to increase your high quality fats. Now, what I mean by that, I'm not talking about just any fats, because once again, vegetable oils are fats too. I'm talking about high quality fats like coconut oil, like avocado oil, like olives, olive oil, things like that, different nuts. Those are all great healthy fats. Omega-3 fish, great healthy fats. Those are what you want to add into your diet. Increase that. And that's going to be an important thing, because as you're lowering your carbs here, your body's going to feel hungry. You might even get a little hangry. You might even get a little bit of brain fog. And the way you avoid that is by increasing your fats, because by increasing your fats, your body goes to an alternative fuel source. Now, you don't need to increase them a ton, because you want to be able to burn some body fat too. So, you want to increase it just enough that you're satiated and that you feel good. And you also want to increase your high quality proteins. Now, once again, what can you have for that? Well, great high quality meats, grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken, things like that. Have eggs, fish. All these different meats are really good for you. And if you can get it and they're grass-fed and they have the fat on it, that's great too. But you don't have to have it grass-fed if you can't afford it. Just make sure then you add some high quality oil to it. So maybe some high quality extra virgin olive oil or some avocado oil, things like that. Maybe some beef tallow, which is basically beef fat. Or you can also have some high quality ghee or high quality butter. Make sure you're adding that to it, so that way you get good amounts of healthy fats. Now, another thing you can do too that's going to help you lower, once again, one of the big things I talk about is lowering your blood sugar levels, lowering your insulin. How do you do that? You can also do that with intermittent fasting. So a lot of you have heard me talk about this before. I'm not going to get into it so deeply right now, because I've got different videos on that. But intermittent fasting means you actually are eating in a shorter eating window. So typically, you guys have heard me say this many times, typically the best way to do it is where you stop eating around 8 o'clock at night, and then you don't eat until about noon the next day. That's about a 16-hour fast with an 8-hour eating window. Now, as you get better and better, you can short your eating window up. You can maybe say, okay, I'm just going to eat only from 12 to 6, and then I'm going to fast from 6 to 12 again, okay? That's another way to do it. You can do fast every single day. You can have certain days where you do an all-day fast. You could have days where you fast 2 days a week and eat 5 days a week. Really, there's lots of different ways, and I've done videos on this too, so check those out also. But like I said, intermittent fasting is going to be a game changer. Once again, always want to get your blood sugar levels down by keeping your insulin levels down too. So those are the key indicators. And that, guys, that's about the best way that you're going to be able to reverse type 2 diabetes. It is not a death sentence. It's not something that you have to be on different medications all your life. If you're type 1 diabetic, this will help with that too. So try this out. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Let me know if you've experienced this yourself. Let me know what your A1C levels used to be and what they are now. And let's share with each other, so that way our whole community can benefit from your knowledge also. So anyway, guys, don't go away. Make sure you check out my other videos. If you like this one, you'll love those too. I love and appreciate you. God bless, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.